Toni Colette, one of our favorites, who got her start in horror with The Sixth Sense. And after she did this movie, she said she never wanted to do horror again. But in the last 10 years, she's done quite a bit. She did Hereditary, which I think is going to eventually go down as like one of the greatest horror movies of all time in a couple decades. That'll probably be top 25 on most people's list. That's one of my favorite horror movies this century. Absolutely incredible film. And she is the reason why it's so good. And then Krampus is a great Christmas horror movie that we talked about in our underrated horror movie episode. And then Velvet Buzzsaw is another great horror movie that she's in. But Toni Collette might have the best on-screen screaming performances I've ever seen.
And acting, because she has so much to do in both Hereditary and The Sixth Sense. And I thought it was so great for her to take a chance on unknown director with Ari Aster and be in Hereditary, because she didn't have to be in a movie. And I think it's great when big actors take chances on newcomers,
like Ethan Hawke with Scott Derrickson.
Yeah,
in Sinister.
exactly. And because they add a lot of weight to the project, and when Toni Collette's in it, you're like, oh, okay, this movie is legit. Because even though she wasn't doing that many movies back then, she was doing United States of Terror was taking up a lot of her time, which she's fantastic in around that time. And then she started Hereditary, I think, once it was done filming the TV show.
Yeah, and the rest of the cast in Hereditary was unknown.
Gabriel
at the time.
Byrne's in it. Yeah,
Alex Welff, no one knew who he was yet.
Yeah, so I thought it was great for her to be like, let me get back to my roots. Sixth Sense catapulted my career, and I think she respected the genre enough to be like, I'm going to do this and work with this first-time director.
Yeah, and Hereditary is incredible, but in terms of just bringing dread to an audience, I think she might be the best at it. I think she might be the best shower of fear and terror on this entire list.
And she's great in The Sixth Sense. She was Oscar nominated for Best Supporting Actress that year. Much deserved. I think she probably could have won and would have been great, because she just kills her scenes. Like when she walks into the kitchen and all the doors are open and the
long
shelves.
take.
Yeah, and she sells that scene so well. And in the final scene in the car, like, she gets me crying every time I watch that movie.
She might be the best actress on this list.
Yeah,
she's up there.
I would say she is the best actress on this list. She's really an amazing actor. And the monologue in Hereditary at the dinner table is unbelievable.
Yeah, Hereditary, like, it would still work, but like it would not be as memorable or as good without Toni Collette inside.
Yeah, I think so too.
She's so good.
Next up, we have an iconic Scream Queen, Sissy Spacek. She was involved in one of the greatest horror films of all time, Carrie, Brian De Palma's film, an adaptation of Stephen King novel, his first novel that was published. Carrie is, I think, one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. And even though she is Carrie, she's a title character and she's the cause of the mayhem, it actually is a very scary movie also for her. She's with her tormenting of her mother, and also just the horror of the character, the mystery and unease about what's going on with her. So I think it's okay to put her on this list. She's also in The Ring 2 and in American Haunting. Obviously, The Ring 2 is not the same movie as The Ring, but still pretty good. She did a great job. But I think if you're just starring as Carrie in that movie, which is so incredible, she has to be on this list.
And she's, I think maybe, is she the only Oscar winner on this list?
On this list?
Toni Collette's won, right?
No, she hasn't.
She's been nominated. I haven't gone through the entire list, but I think she's
the only winner.
The only winner is she won for Coal Miners.
No, Anna Paquin.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Anna Paquin won for The Piano.
For The Piano. So one of the few Oscar-winning actresses on this list. She won in 1981 for Coal Miner's Daughter. She's been nominated a bunch of times.
She's extremely talented.
So critically acclaimed actress. But Carrie is, I think you're right. Brian De Palma made that movie. One of the most underrated horror movies. It's not really talked about as much anymore, even though there is a remake done with it starring Chloe Grace Moretz, which I've seen. It's fine. It's for a reboot. It's fine. But I mean, nothing can capture what he did with the original film. And just the third act of Carrie and the ending of Carrie. Some of my favorite moments in horror history are in that movie. I mean, the prom scene with Carrie is so important to the horror genre, as well as what happens at the end of the film. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't know what you've been doing. Get on Carrie. I believe it's streaming maybe on HBO Max or something like that.
Somewhere, yeah.